people's stories were almost unbelievable, you know, stuff you could make a movie out of. This guy's mother was an invalid, bedridden. So when the evacuation came, they're at the house, she's in the bed, water's rising. They try to grab her, bring her up the attic stairs into the attic, and were unable to do it. They kept her up there as best they could, but then the water came up and slammed the door shut, and mother stayed downstairs. Drowned below. They survived. And those are just crazy things. Real things. Things you would maybe only think a story would be. It was just reality. When you saw other people's challenges, ours weren't that big a deal. I was able to work those hours. So I was very fortunate. With all these claims and all that, that's when I became a rail insurance man. When you got to see in action what those big promises were that you've been giving these people all these years, it gave you a real appreciation for this is what we do for a living. You know, insurance is it's a great career. I stumbled onto it. Got out of college, spoke with my friend, and he said, I'm working where my cousin worked, selling burial policies. Took an LUTC course, Life Underwriters Training course, and learned what real life insurance was. So decided to move on from that little temporary job. After a couple of years, it just got to be where I wanted the ownership of the business as opposed to being that direct employee. And in '78, partnered up with another guy to start our own agency. Started doing more property and casualty with life. And this was pretty good. And we were doing all right. And then Storm came about. The evolution of the office was with Charmaine and Allison working with them. And then they all each had to go their separate ways. Drafted Tim, and he had to be trained OJT for sure. There was no time to sit down and say, Insurance 101. PIA offered the CISR class. So he started doing those. And he's an athlete. Next progression was to draft David. He had worked at the Department of Insurance in the mailroom off and on. So he had a background in insurance, being from an insurance family. I think we've got a terrific team now. Really, really good.
What's it like working for your dad? What's it like working for your dad?
It's got its ups and downs. You know all those things you want to say to your boss, but you can't? I can. Some days are better than others, but I really enjoy it. I still have the most respect for him as my father. So it's a really good benefit to have. It's a great opportunity, and working with family is one of the best things you can do. Sometimes you think you know better than him, but sometimes I get to tell him I do.
Most mornings when I come in, they're here, and so I get to see my son often, all the time. So that's pretty neat. I never would have dreamed in a million years of insurance. You know, wasn't sexy enough occupation. It's a great career. Raised 3 kids. All 3 of them went to Catholic grammar school. All 3 of them went to Catholic high school. All 3 went to college. Not a bad deal. I'm still fat and sassy, so there's got to be a few meals in it too, right?